Everybody.
Good morning,
welcome to the meeting of the subcommittee of the licensing on obviously the 9th of November 2020. I have an opening statement for the licensing committee. Can I welcome all members and officers to the meeting of the licensing subcommittee, which due to government advice to practice social distancing, this meeting will be held virtually. The meeting is being recorded and will be available via the Council's website to be viewed as soon as is possible following the meeting. Everyone participating in the meeting will be accessing this meeting from remote locations. Please could everybody ensure that mobile phones are switched off or to silent mode. Members will have received an electronic copy of the agenda. I will ask officers to present a summary of the key points. For the record, the agenda can be viewed on the Council's website. Members and officers will be speaking at various points during the meeting, and those speaking may switch their cameras on at that point. But I would ask that the exception of myself as chairperson, at all other times you keep your cameras and microphones switched off, as this will help to minimise any background noise and interference and to ensure the connection remains as stable as possible. If any members and officers wish to raise a point or question, they should use the instant messaging IM icon in the bottom left of the Skype window and simply type speak, and I will come to you in the order I receive requests. Please do not use your microphone until I invite you to do so. In the event that the subcommittee requires to vote on the item of business before it at the meeting, I will announce that the members of the subcommittee have 20 seconds to vote by typing for, against or abstain in the instant messaging icon. I will then ask Democratic Services to announce the decision made by the committee. Officers from Democratic Services will be supporting the meeting and will be monitoring the use of microphones throughout the meeting, and where necessary will mute those not being used. Before we formally commence, I will now ask the Officer for Democratic Services to announce the names of the councillors in attendance at this meeting. I would also ask the officers to introduce themselves as and when I invite them to speak during the course of the meeting. They too should ensure microphones and cameras are switched off when not in use. So could we have a roll call of everybody in attendance, please?
Thank you, Chair. In attendance today is Councillor Altaf Hussain, Councillor Janice Lewis, Councillor John McCarthy, Councillor Pam Davis, Chairperson, Councillor Malcolm James, and for the benefit of the recording, I am Mark Galvin. I'm Senior Democratic Services Officer, Committees. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. I will now proceed to agenda business. Number 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence.
Apologies, Chair, today from Councillor Alex Williams.
Thank you very much. 2, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? To receive declarations of interest of personal and prejudicial interest, if any, from members or officers in accordance with the provisions of the Members' Code of Conduct adopted by Council from the 1st of September 2008. Are there any? No? Thank you very much. On to 3 then, approval of the minutes. To receive for approval the minutes of the 11th of the 2nd, 2020. Have I approval of those?
Move, Chair.
Thank you very much. Is it seconded by anybody?
Yes, Altaf. Thank you.
Thank you. And also the minutes of the 22nd of the 9th, 2020.
Approved, Chair.
Thank you.
Second, Chair.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Going on to number 4, which is the application to license a private hire vehicle to Jason Stretch, NU 64GUF Appendix A. And I've been informed that Jason Stretch is present. Welcome to the meeting. Now pass you over to Kirsty Evans. Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Thank you. Right, so the purpose of this report today is to ask the subcommittee to consider an application for the grant of a private hire vehicle. We have had an application which has been made by Jason Stretch to license a Vauxhall Vivaro 2900 Combi with the vehicle registration November Uniform 64 Golf Uniform Foxtrot. And this is as a private hire vehicle to seat 6 persons. The vehicle is pre-owned and was first registered at the DVLA on the 25th of September 2014. The application does fall outside the private hire vehicle policy, which is why it's before you today. The vehicle is wheelchair accessible. A service report has been submitted with the mileage that's detailed in the report in 4.3. On the 27th of October, an enforcement officer inspected the vehicle and the vehicle was found to be in good condition. You can find a copy of the vehicle assessment form, which was completed by the officer in Appendix A. And at the time of the inspection, the mileage was recorded at 28,468. So the recommendation today is that the subcommittee is asked to determine the application having regard to the information contained in this report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Does Mr. Stretch wish to say anything before I ask the councillors if they wish to say anything?
Yes, please. Yeah. Just to clarify on the persons, it says a private hire vehicle to seat 6 persons. Can I just clarify what's the interpretation of that? Is that 6 passengers? Because there's 6 seated passengers plus a wheelchair position in there, plus myself as a driver. So I just wanted to get clarification on that, really, please.
Okay. Kirsty, would you like to come in and explain?
It says 6 persons, so that's 6 passengers. There's nothing in the report relating to the wheelchair from the enforcement officer. It's not mentioned in there, so we can get clarification on that following the meeting from the enforcement officer.
Okay.
Are you willing to go forward with this, Mr. Stretch?
Yes, please. I'd like to move forward.
Okay. Anything else that you have to add to what you've already said?
No, everything seems in order. Just that was just to get clarification on that point, really.
Okay. Right. Do the councillors have any questions at all? By the silence, oh, Altaf, you'd like to say something, Councillor Altaf was saying?
Yes, may I ask how many seats does he think it has, including wheelchair?
7 plus a driver, making 8.
Making 8. Okay, thank you.
Right, I have Councillor Janice Lewis that wants to speak as well.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes, it's. Do you intend to actually use it with wheelchairs? Please?
Yes, that was the reason the purchase the vehicle was to be able to take a wheelchair passenger plus, their family or associates.
Right.
So that's what it's for, because it's not a wheelchair accessible vehicle in Porthcawl.
Right. Can I just ask then? There's when it was examined, it says that. Sorry, I'm scrolling up here. Steps, ramps free from defects with no missing parts. So you have still got them there then, the steps and ramps. That's okay? Is that it?
It's manufactured as a wheelchair vehicle, as new, with a ramp at the back, which goes in between the seats. So there's 6 fitted passenger seats, plus the ramp up the back in the middle for the wheelchair to be affixed.
Lovely. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I haven't got anybody that's shown that they want to speak. So I'll hand over to Democratic Services now, because I think that we've got to pause the meeting, obviously, for us to vote on this licence, and just to make you aware that the voting will be for, against or abstaining, and you get 20 seconds. So if Mike
Can I just come in, Chair?
Yes, go on.
Thanks. It's custom and practice now, if this meeting was live, that members would retire. So that's what the next step is, really. And once they made their decision, then Mike Pittman, my colleague, will call the applicant and other officers, Kirsty, myself, back into the meeting where the decision will be announced, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Is everybody clear on that? Okay, so you'll get 20 seconds to vote once the meeting's been paused then. Mr. Stretch, I have pleasure in announcing that the licence has been granted.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your attendance this morning.
That's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Does Kirsty want to come in and tell him what he has to do next regarding getting in touch with licensing?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the licensing officer will be in contact with you, Mr. Stretch, and to arrange to get testing of the vehicle. Okay.
Sorry, for testing.
To proceed with the application, the licensing officer will be in contact with you. We've got your details, so just wait for the phone call, okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So moving on to item 5 now, which is urgent items. To consider any other item or items of business in respect of which notice has been given in accordance with Rule 4 of the Council Procedure Rules, and which the person presiding at the meeting is of the opinion should, by reason of special circumstances, be transacted at the meeting as a matter of urgency. I have no matters of urgency to report, so thank you very much for your attendance, and stay safe, everybody. And the meeting is now closed at about 16 minutes past 10. I think that's a record.